Coming to you live from the Cowboys headquarters in Frisco. Deep in the heart of Texas, it's the Star at Night.
Wow, dramatic much?
Why are you getting in the way of my intro?
You mean our intro? We're your hosts. I'm Kelsey Charles.
And I'm David Hellman.
Okay, let's just start this show now.
All right, David. As a local Louisiana boy, I have a very serious question for you. Who has the Cowboys voodoo doll, my friend? I must know.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun. I don't know what day of the week it is. COVID's back in play, which don't love to hear that.
Nope.
What else we got? We don't know who's available due to injury. Nope. Have we mentioned that they lost 3 out of 4? Mm-hmm. Thanksgiving, ruined. Didn't eat dinner, ruined. Overtime, awful. Referees, 28 flags. It's all trash. It's all trash.
Well, I'm really glad that you have a positive attitude in this Thursday night game because, there are some things we need to talk about that will hopefully, I don't know if they'll make you feel better, but at least we do to address them. And mainly, let's start off with, you mentioned the Cowboys COVID list because it is extensive, my friend, and it is a bit shocking to see. Let's start off with, the head coach. She gets a call on Tuesday morning, and he will not be at the game on Thursday.
He ain't going to New Orleans. He's going to be distanced. It sounds like it's going to be Dan Quinn that takes over for Mike McCarthy, which, as far as fallback options go, that's not the worst thing.
No.
Dan Quinn, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons for a long time. He's been to the Superdome plenty of times in his life. But it's just hit after hit for me. And that it's not to make light. We're still in the middle of a global pandemic. I think it's been easier to forget that this year, if I'm being honest. People are vaccinated. You don't hear about this as often, but the Cowboys are catching it hard. I mean, as recently as Tuesday morning, Nashawn Wright is added to the list. Amari Cooper, not in the COVID protocol anymore, but he's also not all the way back. They don't know if he'll be available. It's just thing after thing for this team right now.
It is, but I do want to talk about Dan Quinn for a minute because he is going to be the active head coach on Thursday night. And I want to get your thoughts on this because, listen, I mean, he's been there before. You mentioned it. He had an overall record. I don't have to look at that. 43-42. So, hey, it's winning, barely winning, but it's winning nonetheless. How do you feel about him leading this team come Thursday?
Like I said, it's not ideal to not have your head coach, but if this is the situation that you've been forced into, I can think of way worse options than a guy that has been in an... Okay, I don't even care about the win-loss record.
Sure.
Let me do some quick math. What's that, 85 games?
Yes.
Please tell me I did that right.
He's done this before.
I can't count, but I'm glad I pulled that off. But Dan Quinn has done this many, many times. He shouldn't be fazed
85.
by what... That's what I said, isn't it? God, don't ask me to do math. I got into sports writing for a reason. But he's plenty experienced to handle this. I'm not worried about it.
That's all that matters when it comes to taking over this role for 1 week. All right, so let's talk about Terrence Steele because he's been a topic of conversation this season, to say the least. Well, unfortunately, he's making headlines for other reasons. He is going to be out this week for COVID protocol, and you're going to have La'el Collins in that starting lineup now. This O-line switch has just been next level. What are your thoughts on the lay of the land come this week now that we've seen where, heads are rolling and so forth?
I don't mean to be glib because, again, this is a deadly global disease. I hope Terrence Steele is feeling better and quickly. I don't wish that on anybody. Really nice to have some clarity, though. Really nice to know who's going to play right tackle and not be rotating or second-guessing or not being sure. This puts them into a situation where La'el Collins is going to be their right tackle. We'll see what happens when Terrence Steele comes back. But, at least for a week, I think I know what to expect.
Yeah, well, I would definitely say that many of the Cowboys fans are hitting the panic button. And we've got more topics to discuss.
Should I get you a voodoo doll when I'm over there?
Fearful or not, stay with us. No, thank you, please.
Cowboys Star at Night is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by Favor, the official on-demand food delivery partner of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
All right, Dave, so you said it first. You're not having fun. Well, the Dallas Cowboys certainly are not enjoying themselves as of late. So I need to know, is it time to hit the panic button?
Getting close. Getting real close.
All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to run you through some scenarios, and then you're
Okay.
going to tell me panic button or just chill out a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, all right, first up, let's start off with, their record. The Cowboys have lost 3 of their last 4 games. Is it time to hit the panic button?
No, I want to say yes. I want to say yes because they're not playing well. But the thing that everybody needs to keep in mind is they play the whole division when they're done with this Thursday night game. They got 4 of their last 6 games against the NFC East. It's not time to panic, but it's time to start playing better, please.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was uncharacteristic to say the least, some of these losses. At the very least, the silver lining is that they're all AFC teams. I don't like AFC West teams, end of story. That's what I took away from whatever this has
I'm
been.
sick of that division.
We are over
Thank
you.
God it's over.
For sure. Okay, moving on. Panic button. Oh, the Cowboys lead the league in, this stat kind of sucks, but penalties.
Yes.
And
Mash.
that's cost them
Mash it.
816 yards.
Bung, 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 bung. Mash the panic button because it's not, okay, there were 28 flags, 14 on the Cowboys against the Raiders. It's all season with these guys. They barely escaped New England because of the number of penalties they incurred on themselves.
Right.
Yes, panic about that, but again, more importantly, maybe just clean it up. Maybe clean it up and then I don't have to panic. But yeah, I'm panicking about it because it's a trend.
Yeah, they had guys that were individually leading the league in penalties and also now as a team. So not a trend that I'm trying to be in front of. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Ezekiel Elliott, our one true feed me king. Okay, so he's had a bit of an uncharacteristic season dealing with a knee injury. He hasn't ran for over 70 yards since week 5 against the New York Giants. Panic or chill out?
I'm chilling on this, and I'll tell you why. It's because when this game is over, win or lose, they're going to get half a week off. And I think that's what Zeke needs more than anything. Find the cold tub or the hot tub. I'm not going to pretend to know what makes you feel better, but go find it and spend your whole weekend there.
Cryotherapy, anything.
Cryo, whatever. Acupuncture. You into acupuncture? I don't know. Cupping? Can you cup a knee?
Would you like my knee?
I don't know. We give you our knee, my king, but he'll have a half a week to get ready. I'm not worried about it. Just got to get through this game.
All right, so we're not worried about some of those things, but something we do have to worry about is this game coming up on Thursday. We're going to break it down a little bit further with one of our dear friends, Luke. It's coming up next.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the show. Look, it's show business. They say you got to find a way. So when you have a very prominent, famous guest cancel on you, you get curveballs, okay? Sometimes you got to dig deep. I would never say that. I would never admit that we got this guest last minute if it wasn't my best friend in the world. It helps when you play a team from your hometown. So we brought in my guy, Luke Johnson, Saints beat writer for the Advocate Times-Picayune. Also, for some reason, puts up with me as a real-life friend. Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Man, I'm really upset that you just introduced me as the less famous person here. So not all people have 100,000 Twitter followers.
Hey, well, look, okay. The person that
Getting to your head.
was gonna come on was real deal famous. We're not gonna name names. We're not gonna do that. But we are pleased to have you as our fallback. I can call you that. It's whatever.
Wow, this is just such a great start to this
Look,
show.
let's get into it then, because my guy knows about the New Orleans Saints, which. Look, Luke, I'm gonna throw a real softball up to you, man. Who is this team? Because I feel like every time I watch the Saints, they're a different thing. They killed the Packers, they've lost 4 in a row. What? Who are these guys?
You said that as a softball question. That's not even close, man. I haven't been able to figure out who these guys are through 11 weeks. That's not a softball question. I have no idea. They've beaten 3 really, really good teams. They beat the Patriots, the Packers, and the Bucks. I think they beat all of them by double digits. They've lost to the Giants. They've lost to the Falcons. The last 4 games, they've been trailing by at least 11 points going into the fourth quarter in every single one. No idea. I can tell you this. I can tell you that the team that they've put out there the last couple of weeks is like basically their B team, especially on offense. They have just been ripped by injuries. I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, they were without Jameis Winston, who tore his ACL. They were without Alvin Kamara, best players in the NFL. They were without Mark Ingram, both of their All-Pro tackles, their Pro Bowl left guard, their second-year tight end, who is just finally starting to come into his game here. He went on IR. Taysom Hill's been basically inactive for 3 weeks now. You're looking at what is essentially like game 4 of the preseason offense, and they played like it. And the defense hasn't really been able to make up for that because this is not exactly complimentary football that they're playing. So the team that you're getting right now is a team that's playing the worst football that the Saints team has played since 2015. But if they get a couple guys back, maybe you're going to see the team that beat the doors off the Packers in week 1, or beat the Patriots or the Buccaneers. They're all over the place this year. It's impossible to figure them out.
Okay, so I want to ask you about some of the guys that are coming back, because that is a big key component, I think, for both of these teams going into Thursday. But let's talk about the ones that the Saints are expecting specifically. So obviously Taysom Hill is going to be their starting quarterback. They just named him. I need to get your thoughts on that, because we know he's a jack of all trades, but probably not a master of that specific position, because he, quite frankly, has only started in it, 3 times, 4 times? Anyways, that component in itself, but also the Alvin Kamara, is he going to be coming back full time? He was limited in practice. He's been out 3 weeks with a knee injury. So what does this Cowboys team have to face in terms of guys returning to the roster for the Saints?
Okay, so we won't know for sure until tomorrow. But I think if I were putting a guess on it right now, I would say Alvin Kamara will play. I'd say Ryan Ramczyk will play, which is huge for them. Mark Ingram probably will play. I think Teron Armstead missed practice. I would guess he'd be playing. And Taysom Hill, I think it's not necessarily a sure thing yet that he's going to start a quarterback. I think that's what they want. But he's been dealing with a really just nagging foot injury that has made them keep him as like a emergency quarterback the last couple of weeks. And if he's not really like 100% or anywhere even close to it, to where he can do the things that Taysom Hill does well, I don't know if there's really any point in putting him out there. So I think we're all expecting Taysom to be the starting guy, but I think there's still a chance it could be Simeon, and then them giving him one more week with this little mini bye here after this Thursday game to get him exactly where they want him to be for the stretch run of the season. But if they do have Taysom out there, and if Taysom is able to play doing the things that he is very good at, which is moving around, scrambling when everything breaks down and kind of freeing things up. It adds an element to this offense that they just have not had, especially over these last 4 weeks. They've been consistently in these like 3rd and long situations. They've been really bad on 3rd and short. They've had a bunch of negative plays. Trevor Siemian, I think, is fine, but when you're putting Trevor Siemian out there with this cast of receivers they have, with Alvin, with injured offensive linemen, it's just been a disaster. So I would expect, if Taysom Hill's ready to go, for their offense to take a little bit of the leap forward, even if he's not like this traditional superstar quarterback.
Okay, I apologize in advance. I'm gonna rely on your memory here, which is slipping in your old age. I get that.
Oh, God.
But I need you to dig deep. It feels like a lifetime ago to me too, but you were here in DFW back at the beginning of the season because of Hurricane Ida, and the Saints had a little bit of a COVID outbreak. I mean, their coaching staff had 8 or 9 guys missing because of COVID at the beginning of the season. That's what the Cowboys are dealing with right now. Mike McCarthy's not going to be on the sideline Thursday. They got 6 or 7 other coaches that are in the protocol. How much did that affect the Saints? And just what did you observe in the way that they kind of had to maneuver to get around that?
Yeah, thankfully, I was just writing about that right before you asked, so it's still fresh up in this old brain here. Look, I think the situation the Cowboys are going through is a little bit different right now. They're not evacuated for a hurricane. I think that was impossible to really figure out how much that impacted him, because there were so many things that they were dealing with at that time that were just completely beyond the pale. Just like what team has to go evacuate for a month anywhere else besides the Saints? So I don't think it helped though. That when they first dealt with that was the Carolina game. And I know Carolina was playing pretty good in the first few weeks of the season, but they just got trounced by the Panthers, and they had like 4 coaches on the sideline. But they did have Sean Payton around, right? And it's a little bit different when you have your head coach there, and he's there on the sideline, versus not having that guy. And the Cowboys can turn to somebody with a lot of experience against the Saints in particular, and Dan Quinn. But it's not just it's missing Mike McCarthy and missing all these offensive assistants, and you got guys coaching position groups and they're not used to coaching, and you're missing all these voices on the sideline. It doesn't help. So hopefully for y'all's sake, Cowboys are able to handle it a little bit better than the Saints did, but different situations at the same time.
There's only one way to know for sure. They eventually have to play. Lucas, it's so good to see your face, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
The second
this
most
weekend.
famous guest we've had on the show this week.
It's terribly true. It's terribly true. Hey, we talked a lot about what the Saints and Cowboys don't have. We are going to talk about a big name coming back and what the Cowboys can get from DeMarcus Lawrence coming up right after this.
This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Dave, speaking of voodoo, what is this? I'm at a loss.
Are there stakes? Am I getting something when I win? Also, you suck.
I don't know what happened.
You went 0-3 last week.
Yeah.
We've been talking trash about the fans, but you are eating dust.
Yeah, I know.
You are
so much.
butt at this.
Okay.
What else can I say?
What else can you say is you can zip it and give us your opinions on the under review segment for this week.
I better be getting some money or dinner or
hopefully
something.
I will be able to redeem myself. Okay, so first up, let's talk about Dak Prescott passing yards over under 299.5.
I'm going to go over just because I think they need it if they're going to win. We talked about Zeke being hurt. I don't think the running game is going to be there for you right now. I would really love it if Amari Cooper was going to play in this game. We don't know that right now, but I just think they need Dak to ball if they're going to win. I say over.
I'm tempted to take the under. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, now you're just trying to catch up. You're like a team
I'm
playing
taking
from
the
behind.
under. I'm taking the under because
Fine.
I definitely think that this secondary could pose some issues if they showed up against the Saints. All right, so let's see what the fans have to say. Hopefully, they took the over too.
You realize
Of course.
you're in so much trouble.
I know.
Because you're going to have to
I'm
opposite
just being
the op-
bold
you're gonna
as
have to
hell
answer the
now.
opposite, yeah.
I know. It's fine. Okay. All right. So moving on to D-Law. So it's his first game back come Thursday. We're very excited about this. So, Dave, over under a half a sack for the man himself.
I'm going to say under. It's been 2+ months since he's been on the field. Important to remind you, he didn't really have a training camp before the season started either. He's played very little football. I doubt they're going to throw him out there for a ton of snaps. I'm sure it's going to be a gradual thing. Hopefully he plays well. I'm going to go under.
Give me under 2, but I do think he'll be disruptive. All right, so
Okay.
let's see what the fans have to
I'll
say.
allow it.
They took the over because who wouldn't want to see Tank Lawrence sack whatever quarterback the Saints are going to put on the field? We don't even know.
Maybe it'll be Sean Payton.
Maybe. Who
Fans
knows?
are so predictable.
I mean, you talk, but I'm losing them right now, so it's fine. Okay, so turnovers. Over under forced turnovers, 1.5 for this Cowboys defense.
Come on, it's got to be over. It's got to be over,
It does have to
man. They haven't been getting as many recently. Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian. Taysom Hill plays tight end. Come on, he can give you
Trayvon
something,
Diggs
surely.
is going to eat.
I'll settle for a forced fumble. I don't care. They need some takeaways. I'm going over.
Okay, give me the over as well. What about the fans? What
I
did
wonder
they have
what
to
the fans
say?
are going to say. Wow,
Oh.
it's actually really close.
Wow, I am actually kind of surprised by that.
And maybe they're jaded because Trayvon hasn't been getting picks.
All right, well, that's a little aggressive. Okay, so that is going to be our over-under.
You're closing that out just like you're performing on over-under. Hey, when we come back, we got some thoughts on the Cowboys, again, juggling their defensive tackle situation. What else is new? We'll be back right after this.
Cowboys Star at Night was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
Dave, it truly is always something with this team and Cowboys defensive tackle.
Always.
Bill made sure to continue to perpetuate that narrative by getting into some extracurricular activities after the game on Thanksgiving. I mean, what are we doing here, guys?
Look, Tristan, if the league has taught us anything this year, you can punch or choke whoever you want during the course of a game. You got to do it between the game whistles, though. I mean, I'm not going to try to make sense of the league's punishment policy. Can't be doing that, though. The irony for me is that they're finally getting Neville Gallimore back next week. So, of course, they won't have both of them together, at least for the first game.
Of course.
Because that would be a good thing, and the Cowboys
Can't have nice things.
They're not allowed to have those. But maybe eventually we'll be playing with a full deck. Until then, Kels, I'm going to New Orleans. Are you going to meet me at Parkway?
Yeah, for a grilled cheese.
You actually going to get a po' boy this time around?
Maybe you should tell me what they actually serve
Maybe
there.
you should read the menu. Come find me. Po' boy's on me. Thanks for watching the show.